Head basketball coach Lamont Paris joins us now. Carolina is set to go in the 24-25 season, and he has been kind enough to share some of his time. It's a busy time, but we are so glad to have you back, Coach. It's great to see you. You look younger this year than you did last year. That's what happens when you go to the dance. You get younger.
That's
man.
what happens. It's the original fountain of youth for basketball coaches. So hopefully we can take another dip in there.
Well, look here. We got good news. And our basketball guru, Matt Anderson, is on. You think you've got stats on your club. This cat has every stat. He brings up all kinds of crap throughout the season. I'm like, I don't know. They won. That's what happens. But here's the big one, right, Coach?
All right.
Here's the big – they didn't pick you low enough. 11?
Yeah.
You got to be 15 or 16. You got to have a story to sell, right?
Yeah, it's a little harder. I mean, it's a little harder at 11 to get guys to feel the same level of disrespect as last year. But these guys, we got guys with a lot of pride. You got guys like Nick Pringle played on a Final Four team last year. He started for a Final Four team last year. This guy's not interested in finishing 11th. You got Collin Murray-Boyles, who, people think is pretty good. And we had 7 guys in the gym yesterday. I don't think he's signed up to be an 11th place finisher. So we're still going to do it. We're still going to, Jamarii Thomas was the player of the year in the MEAC. Other guys that weren't players of the year in leagues that were similar are getting a lot of attention. We still got enough buttons to push that are going to motivate us from things that are said or predicted and we guess we're a competitive group by nature anyway.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Coach, we collectively here, just to keep that flow going, you don't want to mess up mojo. We picked you 16th, okay? Just so you know, collectively, we decided we'll take over for those media guys who don't believe in you.
Honestly, that's what we should do. We should have somebody do it just so that there's always at least one media outlet that clearly has said the Gamecocks will finish last. We honestly, we should just do that every year.
That's right. Yeah, something to hang on the bulletin board, and then y'all can sling it at us on Twitter and all that all year long.
That's right. We'd be whatever it takes for the program. Yeah, if it makes you to add on to this, and then we're moving on. I just wanted to have some fun with it. Lenardi doesn't even have y'all anywhere close to the bubble, so good for him. There's the bulletin board stuff, Coach. All right,
yeah, and Lenardi, he can kick rocks in my opinion because he had the Gamecocks in his last like preview before the end of what was it, first transfer window. Had the Gamecocks in as like a 9 seed. And then one day he updates it 3 days later and they're nowhere near the bubble. It's unbelievable. I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know.
I mean,
Coach,
guys, let's just concede that it's nonsensical, guys, at the end of the day. I can't look at someone's wife and tell you if they're a good wife by how pretty their face is. And you have people that have not one of our that are.
Oh, did he freeze up on us?
Oh,
we're not in the top 25 last year. Never. We lost 2 games in a row during the regular season. One time the entire. So projection.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Coach? Can you hear us okay? Yeah, his feed is chopping out on him. We got to get Mike on that, see if he can get it fixed on their end there. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, Matt. Obviously, while they work on that, can you hear us? There you go. There you go.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. Much better. You got to love the Gamecock Wi-Fi across campus. All right. So on a real note here, obviously, you just mentioned a bunch of these guys. I love listening to you talk about your team and how you construct your team. Obviously, it works. It's worked your entire career. How do you replace leadership, Coach? What is there a tactic to that? Like, what do you do? Because you did lose a bunch of good leaders from last year's club.
Yeah, we did. I mean, as you're evaluating guys, you try to get a feel for where guys are to that end. Also, they're vocal leaders, and then there are guys that just lead by what they do every day. But then also, I'm not one to appoint leaders. I think it's best served on a team setting when that happens organically. And so we've got some guys that will be in more leadership. You look at a guy like Collin Murray-Boyles, he's going to be in more of a leadership role just based on what we're going to ask him to do. He's going to have to generate offense for us. Barring foul trouble or anything like that, he's going to play a ton of minutes. So he's going to be. Does he have the makeup of being a leader? I think the answer is yes. He's been vocal. He's a hard worker. He does things by and large the right way. So I think part of it is helping develop leadership qualities in guys, and then you hope that it just presents itself. And it's usually by committee for us too. I like it better when it's that way. I think in a team setting, imagine you have one leader and one voice on your team. It's a strong leader. And then for whatever reason, due to foul trouble, injury, whatever, he's out of the game. Well, then what happens late in the game if your leader's on the bench? I think you need multiple guys that can say something that has substance and value. And I think you have to have, 2, 3, 4 guys that can do that. They don't always have to be your best player.
Coach, you mentioned Colin Murray-Boyles, and to steal a line from Ron Slay on the SEC Network last year, he goes by CMB. Anytime you go by your initials, you're a pretty good player. How's the outside stuff working? I know that was a part of his game y'all really wanted to develop before this season. How's it looking?
Yeah, I mean, he made a couple. He made a 3 in the scrimmage, rather, not the exhibition game. So I want him to shoot 1 or 2 threes a game when people are going to roll the dice and not guard him. He's got good touch. I don't want him to overthink it. That's what gets in his way more than anything. I think a couple times a game they're going to play him in a way that he needs to just fling it. And he's got good enough touch that if he believes in it and he's confident in it and he knows that I'm confident in it, I think he's going to shoot a reasonable percentage. He doesn't have to shoot 50% in order to be effective. All he has to do is be a guy that someone has on their scouting report. He might make a 3. And so then when you close out with any sort of lack of control, he's going to be able to tack off the dribble. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think just playing from the perimeter, he's extremely comfortable playing from the perimeter. It doesn't mean you have to shoot it out there, but he can attack from out there. He can lead the break. I think that's another area that we're looking for him to develop into a guy that if he gets a rebound or we outlet to him quickly, he can also lead the break. So there's a lot of ways to be effective from the perimeter. Shooting is one of them, but I think he's really comfortable when he touches the ball from outside the 3-point line.
So Lamont, real quick on the 3-point line, Zachary Davis last year. Zach, I told everybody that would listen that he was going to hit a game-winning 3 at some point, and that the coaching staff wasn't letting him shoot if they didn't know he could do it. I think that is the next step in his game because he can already attack the rim. He fights for every rebound. He gets the scraps, but him shooting that 3-pointer, I think, could really put him on the NBA prospect level.
Yeah, if when you have the size, agility, he's got ball skills. He played point guard in high school for his dad. So he's been trained to be able to handle the ball. And when you look like him with his length, athleticism, versatility, agility, all that kind of stuff, and you can shoot the ball consistently, there's no NBA team that's not going to take a real hard look at you. That's just what they're looking for. So that's the next step in his growth and progress. I think that, and also being able to really impact the game physically. He's got such good physical tools. I'm talking about, flying in for a tip dunk here and there, a consistently good offensive rebounder, maybe a little more in the passing lane. So I think impacting the ball or the game physically, but most importantly, and he's worked really, really hard at his 3-point shot this summer. I mean, I give him a lot of credit. It's been real consistent effort to try to tweak it and change it a little bit, and then also to try to just rep it out to where you develop some true confidence.
Yeah. Coach, we're probably going to talk about virtually every player on the roster. The transfers, of course, we're going to get to them. They are a major topic of conversation, as we all well know. Cam Scott is too, but a guy that he gets talked about plenty inside the building by you and your staff, but maybe outside of it, not as much. Is a dude who has stuck through everything here. Jacobi Wright. What does he mean to your ball club? Yeah,
he's a huge part of what we do. He represents everything that I respect and that I like in a basketball player. He's got tremendous character. He's a winner. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. He's more willing. I'm trying to think of the last guy that's been as willing to do absolutely anything we ask him to do. And so, man, I got a lot of respect for Jacobi Wright. He's he's tough. He's competitive. And he wants to win really bad, and he'll do whatever that takes. So he provides a lot for us. I heard him saying some things yesterday when we talk about developing into leadership roles. It's hard to describe, he played a lot of minutes for us last year, and there's no reason to believe that he won't play a lot of minutes this year. He stepped up and made a game winner in the Missouri overtime game last year. He's had some big shots in his career here, honestly, but he just flies under the radar. He sticks to the script. He does his thing. And then the only time you normally call his name is every once in a while he'll do something really good. And that's why you call his name, but you rarely find yourself calling his name because he's doing something that he's not supposed to.
And one of those rare guys who, kind of carry over into your staff. He's been through the really, really tough and difficult. He's been through the good. He's got a lot of perspective on Gamecock basketball with these young guys. How about Arden Conyers, a kid with, kind of behind the scenes? We heard a lot about this young man throughout the summer, the 6'7" redshirt freshman. Tell us a little bit more about him and what we can expect to see.
Yeah, so we had 7 NBA guys at practice yesterday. They're making their rounds kind of like the coaches do in recruiting periods. And I had one guy ask me about Arden yesterday. We had a good practice overall, I think, both sides. And they asked me about Arden because of just what he was doing offensively. He is absolutely ready right this very second offensively to help us win games in our conference. There's no doubt about it. He's got some real work to do defensively. He's willing. He's learning. He's getting better. We're asking him to do some things that he probably has never had to do. That's not an indictment on what was happening in high school, but they played a lot of zone in high school, and then last year he was on the scout team, so we were asking him to defend the way that the opposing teams defend, and sometimes that was completely different than what we would ever do. And so while he has a red shirt under his belt from a defensive standpoint, he just wasn't getting as many reps systematically the way that we would like him to. And so he has some room to grow there. He's working hard on it. He'll get in games. He'll play. It'll honestly come down to how effective he can be as a defender, because offensively, I'm just telling you, he's going to have good days and bad days. He's wired to be aggressive. He does it in a way that's not selfish whatsoever, and he just knows how to find a way to put the ball in the basket. He's ready offensively. There's no doubt.
Well, here's some bulletin board material for you for Arden, Coach. The computers, the metrics, all that stuff. They try and project everything. They have him projected for 1.4 points per game. So let Arden know that the computers don't think he can score, don't think he can get on the court. Yeah. Let him know.
Yeah. Those computers.
If you look at it, yeah. If you look at it, we played, and this goes back to even my Chattanooga days. Last year, we had 10 players that averaged double figures minutes, and not only that, in order to qualify, you had to play in at least 70% of the game. So it's not like one guy played 10 minutes in 4 games and never played the rest of the season, and you count him as a double figures a minute game guy. We had 10 guys that qualified for that, and we did the same my last year at Chattanooga. which was one of the best teams I've ever had. We did the same. We had 10 guys. So we're looking for guys that can legitimately come in and perform significant minutes, real minutes that matter. And so we got a couple of guys that are on the cusp of that. And Arden is certainly one of those guys.
Well, a couple of those guys are huge. Jordan Butler and Nick Pringle out of the portal, but from the great state of South Carolina. They're back home now, and they're one of the biggest, strongest, and longest front courts in the SEC. What's the summer been like for them? What are you expecting out of that group? How are they going to terrorize, or that you hope they terrorize the rest of the SEC? What do they? How about this? Let me ask you differently. What are they adding that this program hasn't had prior to their arrival?
Yeah, well, Nick, from just a on-the-court basketball standpoint, I mean, he is a rare breed of athlete. I mean, explosive, and it's hard to describe that a person, particularly every now and then you'll see a guy at 6'4", 6'5", and he's got great vertical leap and ability athletically. But when you start to get to the 6'9", 6'10", you don't see it quite as much. He's a tremendous athlete. That's an understatement. I just did it. The understatement of 2024 was said right there. But he's a big-time athlete. We're going to ask him to do some things that he's probably never been asked to do before. I'd like him to be a double figures guy. We're going to throw him the ball in some situations and say, hey, slow yourself down and go to work. Can you generate something for yourself in this scenario? And so those are the things that really lead to guys' growth as a player. But not only is it vertical athleticism with Nick, he can change direction in and out of ball screens when something happens that's unexpected, right? Where he's on one side of the ball screen and the guy refuses it and it goes the other way. He can recover to get there, just moves so well. Jordan Butler is another one. For a 7-footer, he's shocking when he gets locked into playing defense and when he really decides he wants to move his feet and guard someone. He's really good away from the rim at moving his feet. Physicality is something that we'll continue to work on him with, but he also can provide some of the things that BJ did in terms of catch and shoot, pick and pop situations and make teams make decisions. He shot the ball really well this summer and this fall. I mean, really well. His confidence is high, which if you look at his 3-point percentage at Missouri, it was abysmal. And so he's getting his swag back that way. We'll see what happens when the lights come on. But so far, all roads lead to that guy certainly being able to make open catch and shoot threes. And so I think that can help us spread the floor in some of the ways that BJ did. So really, I'm really excited about our whole team, but our front court is it's deep, it's long, it's athletic, it's very versatile from an offensive standpoint, and so we're blessed and fortunate to two South Carolina kids also. So I think we got 7 on the roster right now, so that's good.
Just Coach Paris, one of the things that Gamecock fans loved last year was when you went to the 1-3-1 half-court defense with Zach kind of the head of the snake. Is that something that you think you'll be able to employ again this year? Because with Cam Scott, I've talked to a lot of high school coaches that played against him, and his ability to read passing lanes, get his arms in places, and really be able to push into a fast break type situation. Are we going to see the 1-3-1 again this year?
Yeah, you'll see it this year. It's always here's the way it goes. You have to understand we gave up the fewest points in the SEC last year, so we had a good defense. So while something's working, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, but I'm no dummy either. I don't want to change anything just for change's sake. If you look at the games where we were really effective, a team grooves on your ball screen coverage. Whatever, we don't have the juice in being able to get one thing stopped. The guys are making really hard shots in certain scenarios, and then we'll go to the 1-3-1. It's nice to have that in your back pocket to be able to completely change how the game's being played. But we're gonna keep it. We're gonna have it. You add a guy like Cam Scott in there. I'll tell you, Jamarii Thomas is another guy. He was over 2 steals a game. Led the MEAC in steals last year. He has a knack of getting and then in the 1-3-1, that's one of the defenses where you can do that. You can game perimeter a little bit. You have built-in help behind you. And so that's one thing. Like you look at Zach and how effective he was at the top and all the deflections he gets. And, he can reach from behind, which is one of his favorite things to do. It's an area that he can do that versus the man-to-man. But yes, we'll be in that 1-3-1 some for sure. But if our man-to-man is really causing teams problems, that's my bread and butter. It's the 1-3-1 is just like a pretty tasty side dish.
Oh yeah, it shocks opponents when you go to it, man. I'll tell you what. I mean, Florida, I don't think they knew what to do with it at all in Colonial Life Arena.
Yeah, Georgia game was another one. Those were two.
Yeah, that was the fun part, because it's just like you're throwing a wrench into their whole plan. They're like, what do we do now? Right? Yeah.
But to your point with like the man-to-man defense, with what you have back there with Nick and Cam, and I mean Colin, those guys, they can erase some mistakes in a hurry in man-to-man and get up and challenge the shot at the rim.
Yeah, well, that as far as our man-to-man goes, that's probably one of the biggest differences. Aside from, I think, from a ball screen standpoint, we get in and out of that defense better, but we also are able to probably impact things at the rim better than what we were last year.
Coach, we'll get you out of here in a minute. I got two final quick ones here. People ask these questions all the time. They're very difficult to answer. You might not have a response, and that's totally fine. Cam Scott, as a true freshman, we all understand his talent and we understand the hype. Looking back on your career, is there a comparison that you could present us with, that somebody he reminds you of coming into college basketball?
Well, here's who. I didn't coach this guy, but I coached against this guy. As I see him move and what his game kind of looks like, it's more about how fluid of an athlete he is more than anything, which is where these resemblances strike me. But D'Angelo Russell, to me, is a pretty good comp of what Cam projects to be like for me, especially as he moves towards being able to play full-time point guard, which is the way his brain operates, the way he sees the game, the way he thinks it. Great of unselfishness and care for his teammates, as well as ability to score. I think when it's all said and done, that's my best guess and projection in terms of somebody that he reminds me of as a player. A guy that definitely can make a shot. I don't think you would say the only thing you can't let him do is shoot threes, but you also will never say, let this guy shoot threes. But the biggest thing, he sees the game in a way that he's a very good listener, incredibly good listener. And it's crazy to say that as such a strong attribute. But he's very intentional about being better as a basketball player. And that in 2024 is such a rare quality. And that's why whatever his ceiling is, however high it is, which it's very high, I just wouldn't bet against him ultimately delivering in a way that he achieves and gets to that ceiling.
It's the most anticipated South Carolina men's basketball season in a long, long time. It officially kicks off Monday, November the 4th, but they will play next Wednesday an exhibition against your alma mater, the College of Worcester, 7 o'clock tip at the Colonial Life Arena. We'll get you out of here on that note. That's got to be so cool for you. Really awesome, by the way, inviting them down to play in this arena against your club. I'm sure they're very thankful for that invitation. Oh, did we lose him? He froze.
We froze again. Oh, darn it.
Lost you for a second.
Oh, yeah. There we are. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Coach. I was just finishing up with your alma mater. I'm sure you're happy to have them in town. I'm sure they're thankful for the invitation to be able to come play your Gamecocks. Oh, man.
Golly bum.
Yeah. You hear us, Coach?
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. I know we got to get you out of here. I know your guys are excited to play your alma mater.
No, that's okay. We're good.
Yeah. It's okay, man. Just having your alma mater.
It's an exciting game for me. It'll be a great
We got to make a call.
Just,
Someone with South
hopefully
Carolina
those
Wi-Fi.
guys will look back.
Yep. All right. Well, we did our best, Phil.
Well, when Coach is having these Teams meetings and Skype meetings with recruits, they got to fix this Wi-Fi for him because he can't be dealing with this.
Yeah. Well, it's been an honor as always to have Coach Paris on, and we certainly are thankful. We'll get him back sometime during the season and chat a little bit more basketball with him. But Coach Lamont Paris and the Gamecocks again, 7:00 tip on Wednesday, October the 30th, the College of Worcester. That is his alma mater. They'll be in town, and then the season officially gets going Monday, November the 4th at 7:00 versus North of Florida. So certainly apologize for the video stream there at the very end, but wanted to spend. We like to have fun with him, but wanted to make sure he was able to introduce his basketball team in his words to our audience today. So wanted to make sure we kind of tried to stay on the script a little bit more than usual. All right, we'll hit a quick timeout here. It's 11:28. We've got our high school slate to get to today. We got Raphael, we've got John, we got plenty of Carolina football and much more. And JC will join us when we return on Inside the Gamecocks, brought to you by Gamecock Traditions.
Well, give me just a second, JB, because Coach Pete just popped back in. That way we can give an actual formal
okay.
to you.
Yeah,
okay.
Let me get the last one in.
Yeah, that's right.
hey, this is why your team's so good. You never quit.
I never quit. I never
quit, man.
Right.
You guys never give up.
That might be my all-time favorite QZ that you got on there, by the way. Like that one.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, that one might be my own personal fave. But
what's your record in that one?
I think I did lose one in that game right there.
I think it was only one loss in this one. Yeah, because I was like, all right, man, I got the
winner. Are you
winner.
superstitious about that, Coach? If you lose, you go to a new one the next game?
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason why the quarter zips happen, because just the combinations of this suit, that sport coat, this tie, this like keeping track of all that it got way out of control. Way out of control. So with the quarter zips, it was much easier, less pieces, garment pieces, and then I also liked it. It was comfortable.
Yeah, the comfort. Yeah, the
comfort level.
I think Under Armour likes it too, because a lot of quarter zips get sold.
Yeah. But hey, I can finish that last one if you want. That last one.
Yeah, please. Yes, sir.
So exciting for me to be able to bring the Fighting Scots in here, and you said the College of Worcester as if you're from there almost. So the pronunciation gets butchered, but you said it as if like you're a local. But anyway, it should be a great experience. It'll be great.
That's our job. Hey, the good ones get the names right.
Their head coach is a former teammate of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. But I'm just hoping that those players, the players on their team, really have a tremendous experience. And then as we move forward and hopefully have a great season, they'll know that they were a part of that. And it's really gratifying for me to be able to bring them back here and help them see what this level of play and the atmosphere in the arena and all that will be like. So it should be a lot of fun.
It will be a good atmosphere. There's a lot of people that can't wait to watch your team play. Very excited and to watch them, and always an honor to have you, Coach. Really appreciate all of your time, and we look forward to getting you back down the road. But we'll see you in the gym soon. We'll all be out there to watch your guys play, and we can't wait for that. Thanks again.
Absolutely, it's here. Appreciate you, fellas. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach. Yes, sir. You too.
There you go. Who wouldn't want to play for Lamont Paris?